Ash. He is not good right now. Like, honestly, if it was not for Daryl, I would easily say that he's the worst tank in the game. But luckily for him, now he has a little bit of competition. So today I'm gonna talk about some buffs that I really feel like Ash needs some changes overall, because he hasn't been buffed or received any change in a very long time. Maybe he might receive a hypercharge soon, but for now, he just needs some love. So let's start with two very basic changes. Number one, his HP would be increased from 10,800 to 12,000. He is actually a tank, which sometimes I forget about. I wonder why. So these health buffs should definitely help with that tanking part. And the second part is kind of a rework, where now his charge rate is always the same. In case you don't know, when you are at 0 rage, it takes you around 6 hits to get the super. When you're halfway there, it takes 5, and then you're pretty much rage, it almost takes 3 hits. Obviously the epic gear helps with everything, but that honestly is very confusing and that overcomplicates a very simple brawler actually. So his charge rate will now be 23%, so you will need 5 hits or 4 hits and a couple hits from a previous super. Or if you use the epic gear, you only need 4 hits because the charge rate would be increased to 25.3%. With those two initial buffs, let's now talk more about his actual unique thing, which is the rage bar. The rage bar, it is very tricky, because you pretty much need to be dying in order to fill it up, and when you are fully raged, you are already at like half HP. So this makes Ash's life really hard. So to start off, I want the bar to, instead of taking 15 seconds to fully decay, now it will take 27 seconds. And on top of that, now it will take 2 seconds to actually start decaying. In case you don't know, yes, exactly after you receive damage or you deal damage, the bar will immediately start depleting. And that means that it takes like 5 seconds to lose each level kinda, and now it will take you 9 seconds and the extra 2 seconds to start it off to lose each level. So this overall would make it for Ash a lot easier to keep his rage, but obviously he gets his rage relatively easy, so you will need a little bit of nerves about that. So to start off his first star power, the bonus rage will be reduced from 200% to 150%. So with that third ammo attack, instead of getting triple the rage, you would only get 2.5 times the amount of rage. On top of that, the rage that you get from his actual attack would be reduced from 14.5% to 10%. This was actually something that he got buffed recently, which I do completely disagree. I feel like that was not a good idea, and this should change him back to somewhere close to what he used to be, actually a little bit even weaker in that particular area. His super rage, the rage that you get from his super, is now increased from 15% to 20%. So yes, if you completely hit your super, you get your rage bar completely full, which not only will make the super a lot more important, a little bit more fun, as it will also make the whole thing about Ash, because now he loses the rage a lot slower, it will just help you out so much to keep that whole rage intact. His first gadget, the healing, will be increased from 3,240 to 4,000. With the increased HP amount, he obviously also needs to heal more, and because it's easier to keep your rage up, now it will make sense to heal more, because it's also harder to actually gain that rage. So a little bit of risk reward with the first gadget as usual, so to kind of balance it out. His second gadget will have a tiny bit of a rework, which will in the end become a buff. Now, instead of losing 25% of your remaining HP, which again is even more suicidal than what Ash already is, now instead you will sacrifice 40% of your remaining ammo. So in order to get that rage, you will actually lose ammo. This would make the choice of the gadget a lot easier, and actually kind of funny. In Ash's description, he actually says that his basic attack is apparently a blow of dust. So wouldn't it make a lot more sense that he would actually eat his own ammo to get rage? Because he supposedly gets angry when people don't clean the trash. I'm just saying, this is just kind of an idea, but I definitely feel like no matter how many times you would buff this gadget, unless it would make Ash completely broken, I don't think this gadget would ever be good, so this rework should fix that. And finally, his second star power, which is honestly pretty useless. It's the disadvantage of not using the first star power, it is pretty darn devastating. So, number 1, the second star power now probably reduces the reload time. I don't know very well what's the difference between reload speed and reload time. I thought that they were like the opposite of each other, which they technically are, but the fact is, even when you're fully raged, it's still not exactly 40% less reload, which is kind of weird. It's around 32%. So that would be fixed. So now instead of being 1 second to reload ammo, it would be around around 0.86 to get an ammo. Kinda close to that, maybe a little bit less probably. But it'll obviously be a nice buff. And on top of that, the second star power would also reduce his unload time. So that means that when he would be fully raged, instead of taking 0.7 seconds to attack, which when you think about it, it's actually quite a lot, it will now take 0.42 seconds, which is about an average brawler unload speed, instead of a very long one. I was actually surprised to discover how long it took to Ash to actually make an attack. Like, I know it was a lot, but Jesus Christ. So yeah, these should also make the choice of the star power a lot harder, because right now every smart person who did not have the very bad luck to only receive the second star power will probably use the first one, because the first one is just simply superior, just like the first gadget. So hopefully with all of these changes, not only Ash actually becomes an overall better tank, a harder brawler to choose its gadgets and star powers, and overall a better character as well. Because honestly, I'm tired of seeing Ash at the bottom of the D tier or even in the F tier, because I do know that he's pretty weak. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you on the next video.